That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about? What is up, fam? We are back for another episode of the Weekly Roundup. I'm your host, as always, Stephen Rochelle, being joined by my favorite guy over here, this guy right over here to my right, Mr. Zachary Burr. Zach, how are we this afternoon, this evening?
We're wonderful. You know what, Stephen? I feel like the old Saturday Night Live clip. You know, Will Ferrell when he used to be on the the Celebrity Jeopardy. You know what I mean? And they had all the different fake personas. Well, I'm no longer Zach Burr. I'm Shag Shenanigans. Okay, that's what we're going by. It's like when Burt Reynolds showed up and he was all those different, all the different names. Yeah, I know you remember the famous clip, Stephen. So
Absolutely.
At this moment, just because I'm not really in the mood to it's between Howie Roseman and all this nonsense and everything else that's going on right now.
All right, but yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, fun stuff to go over. We're gonna talk about the trade, the potentials of what's going to go happen with the draft. Our thoughts on whether we feel Howie Roseman can deliver on any of the top picks over the next few years. We want to get your thoughts on that. Gonna talk some Sixers and Clippers. You know, we got a couple interviews lined up for you. Two undefeated boxers, Melissa Oddessa Parker, son of world champion boxer Tommy Morrison, Kenzie Morrison, should be joining us this afternoon. And obviously, this is all brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. He's our doc, make him yours, Dr. Paul Vidal. Specialized Physical LLC, 2 locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill. He's our doc now. Make him yours. That's specializedphysicaltherapy.com. And that poll question, guys, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Howie Roseman, will he not hit on any of his top draft selections over the next two seasons? Agree to disagree? Mr. Zachary Burr, I already know you've been burning up. You've been waiting since the trade happened to lay into this topic. And give your thoughts on it.
Well,
I laid it out for you, plain and simply, man. I know you're gonna get into it, so let's hear it, brother.
The Saturday Night Live skit I just mentioned, right? What was Burt Reynolds' go-to name on the Celebrity Jeopardy sketch? It was Turd Ferguson, right? Well, if I'm going to be Shag Shenanigans, then Howie Roseman's Turd Ferguson, okay? Because at this point, Rob. What's up, Robbie? I like the trade. I like the trade, right? We get 3 first-round picks, but Turd Ferguson is not going to. I don't have no confidence at all that these 3 first-round picks. So I'm supposed to have confidence that the guy that he's drafted 1 Pro Bowler since 2017 or 2016 or whatever it is, all of a sudden makes good with these 3 first-round picks. That's where I'm, completely, just like, okay, whatever about it. From a football standpoint, it makes sense. This is, we're not going to be good this year. You assets, right? You collect assets. You got 3 first-round picks for next year. So that gives you the ability. Say you really, really like a quarterback next year, like you're in love with the top quarterback in the draft. You have 3 first-round picks. That's enough to trade up and get the top pick in the draft, is it not? You should be able to trade, whatever your pick, and you should be able to go get the top pick, whatever you want to do in that situation. There's a lot of Deshaun Watson rumors and talk going about. I would love the idea of something like that. But whatever you end up doing, this from a football perspective makes sense, right? It gives you a lot of options, and you're a football team that needs as much help as possible right now. It's not like, we're 1 or 2 players away. You want to have as many draft picks and as many high draft picks as possible. We just got to hope that Howie hits on it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the thing. Everyone's kind of wanting to disagree with the poll. We're wanting to disagree with the poll out of hope. hope. It's not even actual belief that we actually think he can do it. And a lot of reasons why more fans are happy with the fact that he traded back is the fact that they didn't feel that he's capable enough to drafting the right guy. Then they just feel that no matter what he does, he can't miss there. But we just have to go back and look at it, man. You
can't miss at 12 now. You know what's huge about this is, like, we talked about at 6. There was going to be somebody on the board at 6. It was impossible to not hit, right? I mean, you're going to have take your pick between Penei Sewell and Parsons and Chase and Pitts and Devontae Smith.
Now Bryce is bringing up. Now Bryce is bringing up another point of it. That's another side of the here's the other thing. Like, you're going to, like, the rumor around this was that they tried to trade up. And they were going to go try to get this kid Zach Wilson. And everyone kind of seen the clip of him doing some ridiculous freaking cross body throw 60 yards down the field on a dime. Got you, man. Got you.
He's the hype, is he not? He looks. I mean, he looks like he's, at the very least, he's going to be damn exciting.
But how does it not just damage this front office even more than they already have, dude? You just had your owner go out publicly, not even 2 weeks ago. We're building around Jalen Hurts, and then the next week you're going out there and you're fucking sitting there telling me you're gonna go move for another quarterback. Literally, just for fun of it, I just went and told my son that they were getting ready to trade Jalen Hurts. I thought the kid was gonna cry, man. Like, literally, if I'm a quarterback, I don't want to come to Philadelphia. I don't know if my job's is secure. I don't know if the fans want me there. I don't know if the freaking coaches want me there.
Forget about being a player or a quarterback or anything else. If you're just anybody in general, you might not want to, like, walk into Philadelphia right now with all of the shootings that have been going on there in the past couple weeks from down here in Florida. Is it as bad?
I don't necessarily dislike the deal, Tom. I don't necessarily dislike the deal, but the fact I know you'd already kind of touched on this throughout the week, but the fact that the other side of this comes out that you were trying to move up and what you were trying to do with it and everything like that. I do like to deal with the fact that now, as putrid as his drafts have been, if he doesn't hit on anyone in their flops, your top picks, and he's kept here, tell me why we should not rip not Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie out of Lincoln, out of the NovaCare Center down in Lincoln Financial Field.
Well, that's what we talk about. We don't trust Howie, but Tom, we don't trust.
It's not that we don't trust Howie. Do you even really trust the coaching to develop players? Because that's been the problem here the last few years.
It's not about that. I've got to separate those two things. You've got to make smart football decisions. From a football standpoint, this is smart, right? This is smart from a football perspective as far as gaining the extra assets, having 3 first-round picks next year. There's a lot that you can do with that. I just, if you've got to sit there and say, okay, but do you trust Howie to be the guy that's pulling the trigger on those decisions? No, I don't trust Howie in that department of it, but that doesn't mean that you just don't make smart football decisions just because you don't trust the guy that's pulling the trigger. You've got to go make the smart football decisions and then hope that the guy pulling the trigger at some point gets it right. Those are separate things here. It's smart to make this trade and get the extra first round pick.
I'm so with you that they should go corner, anywhere defense, Bill. Please, anywhere defense. I heard somebody sit there say, some of your mocks were sitting there saying Micah Parsons and then Asante Samuel Jr. in the first two with your first 2 selections. If that's what sign me up. I've already been pro linebacker. Anyone who's been listening to me at any point in time over the last year here on A2D, I've been pounding that linebacker door forever. And the fact that he's Penn State, I mean, I'm just not even going to leave that there because I'm just an utter stain for Penn State and always will be.
PSU. Yeah, I'm not a fan of pedophile State University.
Yeah, well, I don't care for that aspect of it, but
as far as Micah Parsons go, how long have I been saying?
I'm talking about the players that come out of the university.
How long have I been saying that drafting Micah Parsons at 6, you're overdrafting him? But I love Micah Parsons at 12. I think Micah Parsons at 12 is a beautiful fit. But if this is what I came back to earlier about Howie picking at 6. you were almost sure, like it was almost impossible to fuck something up at 6. Even if you drafted a guy like Parsons and you're like, it seems like a little bit high for him, you're still confident in the type of player he's going to be, right? At 12, you're putting yourself in a position now where I'm a little bit more nervous about whether Howie, is able to have, if he's going to pick the right guy here. I think there's still plenty of guys at 12 that you're like, oh, yeah, there's going to be plenty of guys available there. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't completely fuck this up and go in a direction.
Jay also makes another point, and you can also flip him for more first next year if you don't even like.
Yeah, I think those 3 first-round picks. There's a plan with those, and the plan isn't just let's sit there and draft 3 times.
And Tommy kind of already alluded to that because there's some quarterbacks on the market, and there's very high value for it.
And we made that trade. And I said, okay, we've got 3 firsts next year.
Jay liked your comment there.
Forget about the Deshaun Watson thing. I think that's a whole different conversation. That might be a pipe dream. I would love it, but it might be a pipe dream. But at the very least, you're thinking we've got 3 first-round picks in the same draft. We're looking to trade up from wherever we're at to get as high as we possibly can. So, say we pick within the top 10, you're trying to trade up from that position with 3 firsts. It's very possible to get the top pick. You can go from like 8 to 1 with 3 first-round picks. Like you can do that. I'm scared how he could do something. I don't think. Well, I mean, I don't want to even say he could very well do that. You know what? You Don. I'm not even gonna put that past him. I'm not. But I don't. I look at 12 and say at 12, like if Patrick Surtain lasts till 12, like you run to the podium. Like that's the pick, and like you don't put any more thought into it. If Patrick Surtain is there at 12, like you're running.
Yeah, I think as much as I love Micah Parsons and all that. If Patrick Surtain is sitting there,
But if he's gone, you talk about corners. I still really like a guy like J.C. Horn. I love at 12. J.C. Horn from South Carolina, I love at 12. You got Waddle there from Alabama. Yeah, I'm okay with that at 12. If
Box
Smith's
Story,
there,
I gotta stop
more
and give a real quick shout out to Box Story because little backstory to setting up tonight's interview with Melissa Oddessa Parker. Box Story had a tweet with from Melissa's knockout. Beautiful. I'm a southpaw, so I definitely love it. And my friend who manages Vinny Paz, tagged me in the tweet, and they had said no one had been talking about Melissa, and Box had and them had going back and forth with me, which kind of brought all together, setting up Melissa. So big shout out to Box. Anyone who's on social media, make sure you check them out. I always got those boxing clips. But now back to it. Back to the football talk. I wanted to get that in there before I forgot even later.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that has to do with anything, Matt Berg, Jerry, Judy, and C. I mean, this is a different draft class. We're talking about what the deal is as far as where these guys will probably end up, where they're going to end up going. But yeah, that's a total Howie. Like at 12, I'm scared that Howie gets cute and tries to get way too, I'm smarter than everybody else in the room, and that's to me, that's so much more of a possibility at 12 than it ever was going to be at 6. At 6, you can't get cute. Like there's no such thing as getting cute at 6. At 12, that's got Howie doing something.
Jay actually brings up a point. There's 2 teams that you really look at that over the next like 3 to 6 years are really set up drafting in 2 different sports. Did you see did you see that crazy stat what the Oklahoma City freaking Thunder?
I thought, but listen, this is a copycat league, right? Like this is what like the Dolphins right now with the blueprint for what you want to be. They're already, they're probably going to be a playoff team this upcoming year. If everything goes the way it should, they're going to be a playoff team, right? That would be the next step forward for them, right? They've got all these first-round picks, all these, this ability to build and be really young and be phenomenal, and that's what teams are looking at and being like, bingo. That's, right there. That's going to be the new blueprint. And teams are already starting to, and you can't tell me that Howie trying to do this and say, hey, let's go get 3 first-round picks next year isn't a little bit of, oh, look what the Dolphins are doing right now and how quickly they've turned everything around like that. Just by, in 2 or 3 years, collecting the right assets. Howie's a nerd like that, right? Like he sees all those trends and all those things and he adjusts to them and he tries to, he's always got to be the one step ahead of everybody else, right? That's I'm smarter than you mentality that he's got. So you can't tell me that what the Dolphins are doing right now and teams like that hasn't played a little bit into this. The problem is I trust the Dolphins front office way more than I would trust the Eagles front office right now. Like, I love the Dolphins improving with the track record over the past. Yeah, you can make some good picks here. They've got it figured out. They're going in the right direction. We're going in the opposite direction. Like, we're trending downward.
Well, no, I mean, this move tells me more rebuild than retool. We were told this is a retool.
No, because I mean, because this tells me this year, like, what are we doing? So we're just going to suck this year. Okay, I'm with you. I see. So what are we doing? The idea this year was just to tread water and just be as bad as possible to collect as high of a pick for next year, and then next year you start the rebuild when you've got $60 million in cap space or whatever it is.
She's on at the top of the hour, my friend. Top of the hour. She mixed up the time zone, and she was just sitting there saying that she messed up. She wanted to change the timestamp. She will be on at the top of the hour, my friends. So getting back to the poll question, guys. Again, if you're sitting in the chat, tune it in. Our football fans, our Eagle fans. Will Howie Roseman not hit on any of his top draft selections over the next 2 seasons? What are you turning yourself sideways? Here you go again. You freaking goof. What are you doing?
Well, see, this is why I told you, like, when you're like all these other, I can't do anything else on my phone if I'm doing the show. Like, I just tried to go out and search something, and I can't do it because it turns my shit sideways. So I got to turn the camera off. You can still hear me on the mic. If I'm going to go to look anything else up, I just got to turn the camera off, for the couple seconds that I'm doing.
Whatever, if that's what you want to do, brother. You do have that button where you can turn the camera off for.
I know, but then you get mad at me and you feel lonely and you complain about it because you need my love and affection at all times. So you're worse than my girlfriend.
Right. I'm gonna leave that one alone, brother. I'm gonna just let that one be. Oh, what do we got one here? When are they not bumbling around? We've been talking about this ad nauseum on A2D for the better part of the last 4 months. The front office situation is beyond laughable.
Who NFC East beast? Can people come on here with their real names? I get it. We are I can't tell who's a troll and who's real anymore. Like, we got people that come on here every week, and I'm convinced they're just saying shit because they're it's some fake profile. Like, he's got a picture of an ugly bulldog. It's
leave the little bulldog alone. Leave the little bulldog. Why you gotta make fun of him?
Bulldogs. Hold on. Bulldogs and pit bulls, my 2 favorite breeds of dog. But I'm just saying. Speaking of beasts, it's like the fucking dog from the Sandlot. See Bryce. I can see Bryce's face. I feel like I'm actually talking to somebody. JK. Jay's cool. He's got the Cunningham. That's nostalgic. It's all cool. But Jay seems like a real dude. Who's NFC East beast? Can we be real?
Is this part of Zach's rants of the weeks? Because
a little bit. I mean, I'm trying.
I got one too for you. I mean, trust me.
So I didn't get the rant in yet, right? So I guess it's a good time to do it, right? But every week somebody starts ripping us. Every single week somebody's ripping me or you or both of us about something stupid. It's always something really stupid. And every time that somebody's ripping us, it's never like it's always they don't have a profile picture, they don't have a real name, it's always something where you're like, is this guy, is this real? Is somebody just fucking with us? Is this Greg Malekovich, over in his parents' basement in Orlando, just creating, burner profiles to have fun with us because he's got nothing better to do? That sounds like something Greg would do. It really does. I wouldn't put it past him.
But yeah, Jay, it's right. It's going to be tough. I don't care that anyone's getting better than us through free agency right now. We've already been down that road. We've gotten our cheap championship that way. Let's build this team right properly and try to build this team in the mold of what Doug Peterson really wanted. And what was that new norm was the fact that we were going to be perennial winners, the fact that we were going to push those envelopes. So it's going to be rough. They did get everyone, at least on paper is better, or it's going to be a rough season or 2, or maybe even 3. We're Eagles fans. We've been through worse, right? And of course, Zach is off, right? So we have an answer for you. We have an answer for you. Hold on,
Dave, dude. Hey, what? Oh, that's your bulldog.
Okay.
I mean, so your name's Dave, and that's you. I mean, okay. So I mean, I love bulldogs. I mean, that's cool, but like, I don't know. I've always like a guy like this, Mugga 660. Like, go ahead, go back. I mean, like,
no, I wanted to finish just show you what he was saying.
Oh, Coach Dave. All right, so Coach Dave, that's cool. I'm with you there, Coach Dave. That's all right. I mean,
we still got some more coming through here, so you know what I mean. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I don't, and then especially how the season. No, better yet, I got you better. They should have fired him when he started with the whole quarterback factory nonsense.
He created this whole mess.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
That's what he should be fired for. I mean, we can sit here and play hindsight all we want, but Mugga 600. We can just say play in preseason. Okay. See how annoyed I am. Like, I'm annoyed by his comment. I don't know who Mugga 600 is, and and there's no profile picture. See, at least this got Matt Berg. Okay, what's up, Matt? Well, they tried to make a move they wanted to trade up to go to 3 and get Zach Wilson. That's all reports, right?
And I think the best part is you see idiots like that wasn't true. It's fake news. You guys, I can't. I already had enough with the trolls and people this week. I know Tommy's had enough with them. I know you've had enough of them. Listen, I had this dude in my group this week just posting. You know how I am with my group. But as long as you interact, I don't care if you're from A2D or not. Whatever, post whatever, right? But when you're just first thing you do as soon as you hop in the group, you're posting promotional type stuff. I remove it. Then all of a sudden the guy gets all butthurt. So did you know? Apparently, we only have D-list athletes on here. It's nothing to write home about. Listen, I'm not here to do anything, but listen, you're that butthurt over something like that. People just listen. People are crazy right now. I get it. Everything's opening up. Our sports teams are nuts. People are going crazy, especially with what's going on with the Eagles.
Pat Combs is going to be mad that he got called a D-list celebrity. He's like, hey, I played in played Major League Baseball for a long time.
I think he said you said celebrity. I think he said athletes, but it's okay. It doesn't matter.
Well, okay, he's a D-list athlete. Pat Combs is going to get very upset about being called a D-list athlete when he played in Major League Baseball for as long as he did.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the pass rusher either, but I don't think they're looking at the D line.
I love corner. I mean, if I'm just looking at 12 right now, and I'm looking at who's going to be available at 12, I love the idea of a defensive back. I really think J.C. Horn. If Surtain, you could have Surtain there too, which again, but
it's not gotta listen. I said it. He cannot miss. Everyone that he drafts from round 1 through 3 from the next 2 seasons have to be
if he misses on
productive players on this team.
After trading, you were at 6, at the perfect spot. Like, you knew you were going to get an impact player. If you trade back from 6 to 12, and now you find a way to miss on somebody,
I don't think wide receiver is necessarily off the board either.
Yeah, I don't think it's off the board. If Chase is there, which I don't think he's going to fall that far, I think again you're almost like, okay, that's obvious. Pitts isn't going to fall that far. Most likely, you've got Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith are going to be the two receivers that are going to be the top receivers on the board at that point at 12. If you like enough of them, either one of them.
I know we got our Sixers are looking beyond legit right now. Can you tell me? Look, I'm looking at the Eastern Conference. I thought it was me and Zach were on here at the beginning of the season. It could, we could see an early exit. Are you looking at this team? I know some people were disappointed with not getting Lowry or not going to go get Baller. I already said we didn't need the splash. We didn't need the splash. We just need to tinker here and there, and we didn't lose anyone we got during this off season. We didn't lose Thibault. We didn't lose any major picks or anything like that. I think it was a win. So yeah, I like where the Sixers are. I don't care, what the Bucks did. I don't care what the Heat did. I don't care what the Nets did. I like the team they have. I think way they're playing ball right now. And let's not mention the way they're playing ball right now without Joe and Ben, for the most part, right?
Yeah, you definitely gotta like how they've been playing without Joe. We keep always the MVP is the MVP is the MVP. Well, no, he's not, because he can't fucking play consistently enough to keep himself in that conversation.
That's an argument for us to have once we get towards the end of the season about that MVP thing.
But I'll tell you what was the conversation we had last week? And the big thing was about if Joel doesn't play, you talked about.
But here's the thing: we've seen what's happened this past week.
Well, that's what I said. Right, last week, what did we talk? Literally the question on the show was, is his durability a concern? And I said, yeah, I think it's my only concern, because I think that's the only thing we haven't proven is that we can win consistently without him. And now over the past week, we have, right? And it's all of a sudden we look like a team that is clicking on all cylinders finally under Doc Rivers. And once Embiid's healthy and he's back, and you've got him, as the best player on this team again, you're already technically the best team in the Eastern Conference. You got to hope that just get him healthy and make sure he's set for the playoffs. Will be dangerous.
I'll sign up for a bell cow to go along with Miles, especially if you're going to be using Miles more out of the backfield. If you're going to be using Miles more out of the backfield, I'm good with you getting the bell cow to go. I would love
Harris from Alabama. Like, if we're going running back at 37, I would love the idea of Harris being there. I know there's a lot of people think he goes late in the first round, but if you're going running back at 37. I like Najee Harris from Alabama. I think the best, in that position. Otherwise, I'm not. That just seems like any other back is overdrafting there at 37. I don't know. I'd rather go different directions. I think you got a lot more options there. Well, yeah, of course. That's a guarantee.
All right, listen. If they don't get one this year, which clearly them moving down, not being able to get who they wanted, is kind of where they're going with it. And
they've already made it clear they don't believe in Jalen Hurts.
I honestly think they are going to give Jalen Hurts this season to kind of figure out what they're going to do. If Jalen Hurts ascends and could be that Kyler Murray, potential with a Russell Wilson upside, then yeah, they might stick with him. That's a big if, because from what I've seen last year, that's not. I've clearly said that. Both me and Zach have clearly said that.
I'm going to do the best impression of your kids at this point. Whenever you tell your kids something and they just go, and roll their eyes at you.
But the fact is, they have the draft capital to either move up to get who they want, to move to go get a quarterback they want, who might become available. They have options in that way with making this move. So, quarterback, yeah, but
no, I mean it's I think it's obvious.
But that goes against what we're talking about here, Max. The fact that we're not want to have to give up more assets just to go get the running back. Right. They're not going to do that for the running back.
Right.
They're not doing that for the running back.
They're committed to, listen, this is what's so funny about it, right? Like this wasn't it was intentional that this leak got out that they were trying to trade up to go get Zach Wilson, because the organization's now making it clear. Forget about what fucking dumbass Jeffrey Lurie said about
Ali ain't getting them anywhere. Ali's worse durability than
Brooklyn just signed LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, Brooklyn's just collected every great player from 2015 and hoping that it's just going to be enough to help them make a run into the playoffs.
Brian, we've been on that bandwagon for almost 2 seasons. Like, I get it, bro. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're talking about the football side of this compared to what we think with Howie. The football side of it makes sense.
He didn't just botch that one. Go back and remember, like before, when he was involved in this type of stuff. That when he, before they took
before we took Danny Watkins, the 28-year-old firefighter, as an offensive lineman with like the 22nd pick. Remember when there was so many other dudes on the board? Like, you remember taking when you take a guy with the first round pick that's older than me, Steven. Like what 28-year-olds want the future of anything in this? Like, let's be honest. Like, what 28-year-old did you ever be like? Oh, that guy's he's 28. this is professional sports. It's not the future of nothing.
I said I'm good with the move. I don't know if it really provides you any insurance because you still have to rely on Howie Roseman and the people involved to make these draft picks.
Look,
and I think if
your insurance,
if you take Howie Roseman out of this equation, I guarantee you that this city's ecstatic because they know we're going to be back in business within the next 3 years. So,
well, and that's what you're trying to do.
I'm with you here. There is no insurance right here, especially with who's involved with it.
But what's that tell you? So what's that tell you? This is so intentional that the organization intentionally, makes sure that this leaks out that they were trying to trade up to 3 to get Wilson. So that already right there that they have zero confidence in Jalen Hurts, regardless of what Jeffrey Lurie says. Howie Roseman's like, yeah, we don't think he's the future. Like we know what the guy is. Like he's a backup quarterback. It is what it is. But maybe they get lucky.
I think it's going to be more the undrafted free agent variety.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. It's not going to be anything special. But like you said, Stephen, maybe we get lucky and he surprises all of us and he turns into something, right? And that's what you're going to go for this year. But I think the organization's already made it clear what they think he is. And those 3 first-round picks for next year are designed to get his replacement one way or another. That's what that's all about.
And then again, like I said, why would any quarterback want to come play here when the organization is already grooming the next girlfriend to put the ring on?
It's an interesting concept. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I don't know exactly how you go about it. I guess a rookie quarterback has no choice. Right, but like I would say, if I'm Deshaun Watson, like the whole Deshaun Watson scenario, I think as much as we would love that to be the case, yeah, I would love Surtain at 12, Alex. But yeah, as much as we would love the Watson thing to be the case,
Alex, we definitely want we're definitely team Surtain over here. And like I said, if it's not Surtain at 1, then you better get Asante Samuel Jr. at 2.
The Watson thing, like Watson's not gonna want to come play here, Steven. Let's be honest. Like Watson's like. He's scrapping that deal. That's not happening. Why would he want to be here? It's not one of those things that's, realistic in my opinion. So yeah, those 3 first-round picks next year, you're immediately looking at who the top quarterback prospects are next year. That's what that's all about. It really is. Well, that's why you went and traded and got all these extra assets. Yeah,
exactly.
You got all those holes. People really mad because Wentz is on social media. Well, listen, we knew this, Bryce. We talked about how it's the ex-girlfriend syndrome. What have we been talking about? This is what I laugh so hard now because I nailed this when I talked about those Nick Foles people when we had Rudy on, and he was like, "You guys make it sound like some sort of cult." It is. There's people on their knees in this city still right at this very moment, and now they've all gone over to the Joe Flacco thing. All these fucking people that have come out the woodwork.
Do you think Jay's right here that they have a draft day trade and trade back again?
We could. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by any of that. None of that would surprise me at this point. Collect more assets. I mean, that again, Howie. That's a Howie thing. He's a nerd like that. He's going to go Sam Hinkie on it and collect as many assets as possible, right? It's just his thing. But yeah. I mean, I was going into a beautiful.
Here's a good one from what was it, Young Das? Front office very inconsistent. What direction do you want them to go? Honestly, I think that's the part that's frustrating everyone. It's not just frustrating the fans; it's frustrating the media. It's frustrating the players. I mean, come on now, in retrospect, what you're looking at to get us to this point to even be able to do anything this season, Howie Roseman has had to kick the can, 5 years along down the line for players' contracts just to be able to go make any type of moves to do anything with this team. So,
yeah, it's.
But the direction, what direction do you want to see them take?
Well, what direction? I want to see them get better, and I don't care how they get better. To me, it's. Does it matter how you get to becoming a winning organization on a consistent basis as long as you make it happen, right? So we just need to get better. Right now, we can't get much worse. What direction do I want to see them go? I mean, I think the NFL right now, you've seen what the NFL is. In order to win, you got to draft well. You got to build around young talent. and you have a small window to win a Super Bowl, because as soon as you sign a Patrick Mahomes-like contract, at the quarterback position, you've got guys like Steven playing offensive line for you. So and it just doesn't work out too well. You saw what happened in the Super Bowl when that happened. So your window to win in the NFL is very small, and the more young players on rookie contracts that you have, the better. So yeah, we've got to take advantage of all these first round picks. Like what the Dolphins are doing right now, I think is the ideal blueprint. That's what you want to be. That's what you want to try to do in this NFL, with the salary cap being where it's at, with quarterback contracts blown up the way they are. If you can be a team that has a good quarterback on a cheap rookie contract with all the other pieces around him, and you have like a 3 to 5 year window to go do something, like that's the key to like building like a consistent success. Or else you're going to see what we're seeing now. Like the Rams, in order to stay ahead and continue to try to maintain what they built, they had to go get out of the Jared Goff contract and find a way to just completely get out of that and do some type of blockbuster trade. Those are things we haven't seen in the NFL before, right? Like we saw Jared Goff get traded. We saw the Carson Wentz trade. We saw both of those things in one offseason. We've never seen that. Like the NFL's changing in that way. You sign these once you get to the point where you got to sign your quarterback to that big time deal, your window's starting to close.
And speaking of change, and speaking of changing real quick, we're gonna change gears real quick here, and our next segment of the show is brought to you by Body Check Wellness. Body Check Wellness is a line of products that promote wellness and balance recovery by using the full potential of hemp. They come in extract blends, gummies, topicals. Use promo code A2D for 20% off your order at bodycheckwellness.com. That's A2D, 20% off your order. Like I said, guys, make sure you're doing that, because I already got some giveaways lined up with it. We just passed 5K on YouTube subscriptions here for A2D. So obviously we're getting some things rolling out for you guys. And Bryce, we had been beating this one on. Zach had been beating on this one already. The whole thing is way fishy, fishy. And going back to what you were saying about the whole scorned ex-lover thing.
Yeah, it's exactly. We knew this was going to happen. People can't, because we've seen this in the city before. People can't get over and certain athletes in this city for whatever reason.
I just think it's funny how they're glorifying Watson, but other players kind of just get forgotten about like it was nothing. But
well, that's a good point, Jay, and that's the one thing I was saying with those 3 first-round picks. Like, say all of a sudden Watson goes from you needed to give up 3 first-round picks and a third or something to get him to it's a first. A first, a third, and Jalen Hurts.
You ain't lying, my friend. And no lies detected under there, my friend.
Coach Dave, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Coach Dave taking shots at the hack Philadelphia media. We don't need to name no names.
Why would we want Wentz to go 6-10? And see, you know what, Bill? Like. See, you're one of those salty ex-lovers, scorned ex-lover people that we're talking about. Like you're over here. I hope Carson goes 6-10. Like, why are you why? Like, stop letting them live rent free in your head. Stop. Move the fuck on. I know. Like this is what I'm talking about. When it's like the guy that got his dick sucked for the first time in high school, and he can't get over the fact that
how can you put it on the coaching
time? Move on.
So how can we put it on the coaching staff this year if it's the first year of the coaching staff there? The reason why we were getting harder on Doug and the coaching staff is because it's not their first year there. They've been there since 16 for the most part.
Progressively worse.
Exactly. That's
2017. We've gotten worse and worse and worse, and this year we looked like we were so inept at times. It looked like a scene out of the Little Giants.
More COVID, exactly. It's COVID related. That's why the schedule's getting pushed back. I'm with you there. I want to find out. I want to try to see if I can go fly out to Vegas to catch them out there. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
we're with you, Steve. Steve, everyone's with you on this one. No one has faith in this guy right now. No, we'd probably have more faith of
okay. Well, hold on. Let me play devil's advocate here a little bit for both you and for Stephen Kreis here, right? So when it comes to drafting, I'm with you. I've got, it's hard to have any faith in Howie. But we were just bitching about how we were, negative $60 million in cap space. It looked like we had zero assets. We were not very well set up for the future. And all of a sudden, this year we're going to suck. It's just, there's not really any options there. But going into next year for 2022, Howie, with all of his little Howie nerd, money magic shit that he does, has found a way to get us 3 first-round picks and create $40 million in cap space for next year. So let's just say all of a sudden, some way, somehow, Howie goes from being the guy that's not in charge of any of the personnel decisions, which I know, again, we know we're playing hypotheticals here because we played that little game this year. But he created 3 first-round picks and $40 million in cap space. Say there was somebody that we really trusted all of a sudden making those decisions. Now, all of a sudden, you're giving Howie a lot of credit because you're like, dude, you just sat here and took us from negative $60 million in cap space to $40 million, positive in a year. Plus, we got 3 first-round picks, and it would take the right person to make the right decisions with all of those assets that Howie got us. It's almost like the Sam Hinkie thing, right? Like Sam Hinkie gathered all the assets, and it just took the right person to, try to put all those assets together. That's where Howie's kind of at. Howie's done a phenomenal job of getting us assets now, in a short, quick amount of time to try to potentially turn this around. I just don't have any confidence that he's actually going to, make the right decisions with those assets. But I can't be mad. I can't sit here and talk too much shit on Howie. How many GMs in football actually are able to go out and do what he just did with getting the 3 first-round picks and all these extra assets, creating all the extra cap space for next year? That's pretty good stuff. You want your GM to do that. Now he just has to fucking finally learn how to draft and stop trying to be, the smartest person in the room.
Nah, everyone's still sitting there saying they're not.
Oh no, because to the point, it doesn't matter what those assets are if you can't if the guy that's in charge of having all those assets, if he does nothing with them, well, they were useless, right? It's almost like, all right, great, we had all these assets, we did nothing with them. So he's gotta actually execute with them. But if you don't have any of these assets, you don't have any chance to do anything with it anyway because you don't have them, right? So at least you have them. I'd rather have them than not have them. But he's going to make me pull my hair out, and if he has all these extra assets, at his disposal and does nothing with them.
Apparently, Ever thinks we're being a little bit overboard.
Well, no, he's kind of piggybacking off of what I'm saying a little bit. Relax, let's come back to this conversation at this time next year when we're approaching a draft where we should have, and approaching an off season where we should have the ability to be really aggressive. Go and get players in free agency. Go get whoever we want in the draft. We want to trade those picks and go get a quarterback. Whatever. We have the ability to be aggressive next offseason. We don't like losing in this city, and we don't like being patient and going through rebuilds and things like that. But for the love of God, we can deal with 1 year of just being absolutely awful if it means that we could go through a quick turnaround here. Because 2 months ago, we were talking as if this was going to be a, 3 to 5 year thing, right? And all of a sudden you're talking, 2 to 3 instead of 3 to 5. That's a huge difference, right? What do we say? 2 to 3 is a retool. 3 to 5 is a rebuild. I'd rather go through a retool than a rebuild.
I'm absolutely with you. I hope it is. I hope it's a retool, but it all really relies on what Howie's able to do in this draft over the next 2 seasons.
This draft's a huge start.
It's the start. It's the start of it. It's also going to determine what's going to happen with Jalen. If they're really going to build around him, I still think they have to worry about filling holes that they need to fill. I'm still at the line that I would like to see that cornerback linebacker combination be taken care of. I don't think the linebacker will. I think they're going to be good with some of the guys they drafted over the last 2 years. To kind of,
I think corner's the pick there at 12. As much as I want a playmaker, right? And for me, Pitts was the play. That's why I said I'm taking Pitts because he's the best playmaker. I don't you tell me Jalen Waddle.
He's not making it out of 10. He's not making it out of 10.
But hold on. Say who, Chase or Pitts, or you're saying both of them? Neither one of them makes it out of 10. Right?
Both won't make it out of 10.
So, but say Jalen Waddle. I see all these people love Jalen Waddle. He's 5'10", $185. I mean, this dude's like a better version than Jalen Reagor, but it's just, to me, he's another gadget player, right? Just another gadget. We have enough gadget guys. Like, the only reason I was taking Chase or Pitts is because, to me, they're legitimate, like, top-of-the-line playmakers, right? Like, outside of that, I'd rather go with the Surtain or the J.C. Horn at 12 and just roll with the young receivers that we have. And hopefully Reagor gets better. Hopefully John Hightower develops into something. Hopefully, Quez Watkins, builds off the little flash that we saw.
Quez Watkins better developing Quez Watkins better develop into your punt returner, kick returner, because if not, it was basically a wasted pick.
We took a screen pass 50 yards to the house for a touchdown. So
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There's got to be at least
something, right? Like you got all right. So there's at least enough elite athleticism there for him to go, make explosive splash plays like that at the NFL level. Coach the kid up and let me develop him into something. Do something as a coaching staff.
And finally, we got a question from one of the members in the chat is going to get to one of the points that we were trying to get to today that we were going to get to.
That's very possible. It is very possible. Say Justin Fields drops to 12. Maybe he pulls the trigger. If Mac Jones is the guy, like I would laugh. Some guy said earlier that, what if we take Mac Jones at 12? 2 Alabama quarterbacks, like these.
I don't know. We were judging.
He's trying to throw people now.
I don't know. I don't know, Mr. Wing. We were judging Carson with shit weapons and ran him out of town because of shit weapons. But hey,
because I don't need to see the weapons. Don't matter. Look, when I watch your arm strength and things like that, like it doesn't matter who the weapons are. The arm strength is below average. The accuracy and the timing isn't good. There's not any consistency with it. And he's got happy feet and he struggles to play from the pocket. He wants to, break, he wants everything to kind of like, let's go, scramble outside the pocket, extend the play.
Me and Zach had already said that if the 11th draft selection is in and Patrick Surtain his name isn't being called, I'm pretty sure the Eagles are going to be doing backflips. Yeah.
We agree. I don't think Surtain's going to be there at 12 either. But if he's there, you're running to the podium. Like Steven said, you're taking you're cartwheeling there, right? Like,
how do you get what you already get what he is. If you watch football long enough, you get what type of player he is. What do you?
Arm strength doesn't have anything to do with the weapons, right? Like you telling me you watched a guy last year. Like I watched a guy that missed a ton of throws that wasn't good.
Right, isn't one.
So had below average arm strength. The one thing he brought was his agility and his legs bring a dynamic to our offense that wasn't there with Carson. But other than that, there's nothing.
I'm with you, Anthony. I'm just sitting there saying, with the fact the way you look at how they revamped this team, don't be surprised if that a wide receiver that they like is there that they won't take him and try to get and then go and try to and then like I said, and try to go and sneak in and try to go get somebody like Asante Samuel Jr. with that second one.
I'd rather, if we're taking a receiver at 12 at this point.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. I take my job very fucking seriously. You're welcome very fucking much.
Who's crazy?
We all are.
Both of us?
We both are, probably.
If Devontae Smith is at 12, you take him? I mean, I'm cool with taking Smith at 12. Like I said, of the two receivers, Waddle and Smith, I'd rather take Smith at 12. But if Surtain's there at 12, I'm taking Surtain over anybody. Like, you can't convince me you're taking Devontae Smith over Patrick Surtain at 12. No way, no how.
All right, listen. I need answers. Why? Why are we still in love with Fulgham?
Well, no, I'll say this about Fulgham.
I'm not. Go ahead.
Like what I think what he did in that stretch, like he's got ability, obviously. Just then, Alshon got healthy. They were trying to get him playing time. There was a lot of things there. I don't think we were very good at coaching guys up, and like we talked about that plenty over the past couple of years. So Fulgham at least showed me enough where I'm willing to see. Twinkle toes, triple hitch, noodle arm. Okay.
Oh man, that's the comment of the day. That's the comment of the day, Dave. Holy!
You coach football, basketball. What do you coach? That's funny though. But yeah, I mean,
don't you wish that evil on us, Ricky Bobby? Don't you wish that evil on us?
They could, Brian. You're right. They could very well take them. I could see them taking Pitts. I could see them taking Surtain. That's I think it's very possible if Surtan's gone, that's where he goes to. It's the Cowboys at 9. So I mean, if that's the case, if I'm still you told me you said if Devontae Smith's there at 12, you're taking him. I mean, I still really like J.C. Horn and guys like that. I mean, like to me, like it's not like I'm happy with Devontae Smith, but like not to me, like he doesn't have to be the pick at 12 if he's there. He doesn't have to be. But I like Devontae Smith. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Well, that could be true, Jay, as well. Like you're hoping that the reason we brought in initially we hired Nick Sirianni, we were hoping he was going to fix Carson Wentz, right? Like you're here, you're going to fix Carson Wentz. Now that's not the case anymore. So okay, you're still supposed to be the quarterback guru guy that was going to come in here and fix Carson Wentz. Well, make Jalen Hurts the best quarterback he can be. Get to it. Travis Fulgham, this wide receiver, Jalen Reagor. You brought over some coaches from that from the Colts staff. They brought in the wide receivers coach from the University of Florida. Coach these guys up. Let's get them better. Let's see what the hell they are.
I'm sorry, Mr. He is Fulgham is a nice complimentary piece.
Right. I don't think Fulgham's a number one. No, I don't think Fulgham's a number one. And I'll say no matter what, he'll never be a number one. But that doesn't mean I don't think he can't be a solid receiver. Like you know what I mean? He's just not a one. But
yeah,
to me, like
don't remind me, guys.
He could be a solid player on this offense. Sure. I mean, give me one receiver on this team that you look at right now. Like, I think out of all the guys that say, who do I have the most confidence that this new staff could coach up and get something out of? I mean, probably Fulgham. I don't know if anybody else showed me enough to be like, hey, like on a consistent basis, like that. I hope that we can turn Reagor into something. Keller Watkins, all those guys. I still hope JJ Ortega-Whiteside turns into something, but it's more of a hope than it is like an actual belief, right? Like. I actually believe with the right coaching and everything, Fulgham could turn into a nice player for you. I think he would have.
I do. I think like we got lucky with Greg Ward Jr. He's probably the ideal slot receiver for.
He stinks.
You stop it. I said you act like I'm sitting there calling. He's a slot receiver. Leave it alone.
He's not even a good slot receiver though. Like last year, like he was not like good. Like he just wasn't. Like it's just like
you can't even give me a reason. He just said he wasn't good.
He's not good. Like what about him? Like, are you still in love with the 4-game stretch he had when Carson was like the reason Greg Ward is still on an NFL roster is because Carson carried him down the stretch in 2019, and Greg Ward was the only guy he could throw the ball to. Like. Greg Ward can thank Carson Wentz for his roster spot.
I think Miles Sanders will probably be one of your very few bright spots of this season.
Miles Sanders is going to stink.
Okay, elaborate. Let's hear it.
He's a head case. He can't get out of his own head. To this point, there was the guy I saw in year 1 was very similar to the guy I saw in year 2. I did not see a significant jump, a significant improvement in any part of Miles Sanders' game.
All I gotta say is thank God Chucks isn't on here. He might be jumping on here to come fight you personally.
I mean, Chucks and me have debated football before. It's cool. Chucks knows what he's talking about. I got no problem with that. But,
Yeah, no.
Fulgham's not going to be. Fulgham looks like a damn good number 2 when Jamar Chase is on the outside as your number 1. But, that's not going to be the case anymore. Surtain might not be there at 12, Brian, but J.C. Horn will definitely be there at 12. And you can't tell me that J.C. Horn ain't worth the 12th pick.
See? He doesn't. Jay
Joel doesn't. Jay Joel deserves to be playing in the Canadian Football League. Okay, that's different than stinks. Greg Ward stinks. For an NFL player, Greg Ward stinks. Jay Joel's not even an NFL player. Jay Joel should be coaching high school football back in whether the California somewhere, like let the umbrella man go back to California and coach high school football. He's not even an NFL player. When we're talking about NFL players, yeah, Greg Ward's on an NFL roster, but Greg Ward stinks. He's not a starting.
So wait, now I love Jason Avant. Just because Jason Avant said we let him down because they gave Jeffrey the snaps, does that mean we let him down? I don't think so. I think if his play really reflected that, he would have been on the field. I think the fact they were still on the fence about him is the fact that we've seen Alshon Jeffrey.
They were still trying to force Deshaun Jackson and Alshon onto the field, and you're like, why? Like, what's the point of all this? Like, Djax still got a contract, by the way. Dude hasn't played a full game. I don't think forget about a full season. I don't think Djax has played a full game in 2 years. Yeah, I'm just mad at Miles because I had a lot bigger expectations for him than so far what we've seen. Okay, you can't not like make a jump. Like running backs, like they've got a short shelf life in the NFL, right? Like their lifespan in the NFL, especially guys his size. Like Shady McCoy's a rare guy of that size that lasts around forever, right? Like you're talking about maybe getting 5 peak years out of a guy like Miles Sanders, and so far we're through 2 years where you're like, what is this guy? He's just an inconsistent,
I think
shows me flashes, but most
Dennis,
of the time,
there's a fan Friday. I think Tommy has people on. You could reach out to him about that. We're typically just doing our athletes on here, my friend.
We're talking about Miles being a bigger asset in the passing game. Miles Sanders.
Cromer's in the house. Cromer's in the house.
Oh, what's going on, bud? Steven, you brought up Miles Sanders possibly being a bigger threat in the passing game this year, so you want a bruiser back to go with him. Miles Sanders couldn't catch COVID in a New York City nursing home last year. So, okay, like let's be honest about him being a bigger.
Oh man,
he's going to be a bigger asset in the passing game. I mean, the dude. I mean, really? I was watching the dude drop wide open touchdowns a year ago.
You sure about that, Chrome? I'm not. Are we going to take some bets right now? Because I mean, you're saying he's gonna hit. Well, we've seen him fail many times on it. So
before our guest comes on, Steven, before our guest comes on, I gotta turn my camera off for 1 minute and get something out the fridge.
Oh, it's all right, brother. I think I survived for a minute, bro.
Okay. I'm still with you though.
I got you. He was made business decision play Jeffrey. Hey, listen, that if that's the case, that's the case. All right, well, make sure you're tuned in there, my friend, and reach out to Thomas to see if we can get you on there. You might be delusional, but you also might be right, man. Like as much as like we're hard on Howie, because how bad he's been, Chrome. Like, listen, he might actually get this one right for once. I could pray we could be optimistic and let him get it, but that's Mr. Wing. That is exactly who if we get a running back who Mr. Bird wants. He wants Najee Harris.
Oh yes, absolutely. That would be my guy at like 37. But Steven, my oldest brother has a good saying that he likes to go with it all. A lot of times when we're bullshitting with each other.
All right. Well, let me.
The sun has to shine on a dog's ass every once in a while, right?
Oh, I remember that
maybe,
one.
so maybe this is the time that the sun shines on Howie Roseman's ass. Howie's the dog in this analogy, and he gets one right. Blind squirrel finds a nut, right? That's Howie this time around.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. But with that being said, we're gonna switch gears real quick here. Our first guest of the night is in the back and gonna be joining us, and want to let everyone know we're gonna be joined by undefeated professional boxer Miss Melissa Oddessa. How are we doing this great night we're having? How are you?
Good. Tough week of training, so a little sore and fatigued. I'm more like comfortable, and it comes on. I'm like, oh, let me sit up.
Hey, man, you listen. Anyone who knows how the training regimen goes. Yeah, I just brought my kids back into it. Between COVID, had to stop. Got my son started fairly recently. My daughter took some time off after, one of her older sister has stopped, so she just got back into it. So like Thursday came around, she's like, Dad, my arms. I'm like, yeah, look, you're using the muscles and they're actually using them, and hey, they hurt. She's like, yeah, I'm taking the day off today. I'm like, I bet you are.
I hear you. I started with a new strength and conditioning coach, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't know I had muscles there. Like it's awesome feeling because I'm feeling the progress and I'm seeing where I'm getting now, really focusing on my conditioning and cardio.
Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest things as being a boxer. I talk about it with MMA fighters all the time, but boxers have that cardio that is on that triathlon level, because you guys have to be in there a long time. 12, 15 rounds sometimes, depending if you go that rounds, depending on commissions and etc. how that goes, because you know how it is. Everything's different. You could be going.
Are at such a faster pace because we do 2-minute rounds.
Yep.
So we're only doing 10 2-minute rounds, which, hopefully that changes soon, because as a pro, how it looks, I go to an amateur gym. Huh?
10 2-minute rounds? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Well, we don't do 12 rounds. We do 10 rounds for a world title, but it's 2 minutes. So they won't have female pros fighting 2-minute rounds, but I have amateurs going to nationals for sparring partners, and I'm the pro, and I got to change my timer to 2 minutes while they're fighting 3. It doesn't really make sense at this point. So hopefully this is the start of them getting ready to switch it for the females.
What's up, buddy?
Okay.
No, I was just seeing some of the comments in there, seeing my son had hopped on, just telling him what's up. And getting some of the guys in here saying hi to Melissa here.
Hola, hola.
Now, obviously, rough week of training and everything like that. Already let the fam know the uniqueness of how tonight's interview got set up through our Twitter friends over there in social media. Like I said, sometimes social media works in great ways. So we get to have you on here, kind of pick your brain here. People said more people need to talk about Melissa, need to talk about her. So here we are. You had a beautiful knockout, and by the way, I'm left-handed too. So another reason I absolutely had to get you on. Absolutely, us lefties got to stick together.
Yeah, the power of social media. Sometimes I feel like a dinosaur because I feel like I'm always catching up. Like when I finally had gotten Facebook, Instagram was already coming out. So I was like trying to catch up.
I remember like when I first started doing like media and started doing podcasts and interviewing fighters and stuff like that. Like even like where I was still just trying to get catch up, caught up on the technology, and just to get to that point. So debuted a show earlier with the guy who I started with on like that terrestrial radio type thing, and like it's interesting to see how things grow and how you have to adapt with things.
Yeah, most definitely.
Now, that knockout's kind of going a little viral there, over the last, few weeks and months. What's some of the things that you feel that's going to come from that, this next opportunity, regardless if it's boxing or if it's something outside of that.
Yeah, well, I never stop. That's one thing. I always feel like if you don't have an opportunity in one place, you can always find it in another. And I feel like that's an entrepreneurship type of mindset. And even as a combat fighter, that's the way I am, because I do boxing, MMA, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So if I'm not boxing, I'll go to MMA. If I'm not doing MMA, I'll prepare for a tournament. So you never know what I'm up to, because I'm in training camp and I'll be able to make the announcement soon, but I'm not slowing down. I just recently had to change teams, switching management, and things are falling into place. And like you were saying earlier, the power of social media. Ever since we posted about talking more about Melissa, and then I was asked if I'm under contract, and I let them know I'm under no contractual obligation with anyone. I couldn't believe how much support I got and how many managers and some promoters have now hit me up, extending themselves, wanting to see what they can do, because everybody talks about supporting women in boxing, but not everybody always steps up.
Yeah, it's rough because a lot of times you the only support you get is from within the from the other female boxers, which is crazy considering we're in a sport where you guys are going to be continually fighting with one another. That the support you get is from within, and yeah, it's rough when you're looking to find someone to want to promote women's boxing and women, women's sports in general. It's just rough. You guys are just 10, 15 years behind where you probably even should be. Like, we talk about it like what's changed so far in combat sports just in the women, but you still have so much ground to cover, and like when it comes to that, and you're already talking about getting those opportunities just from social media and stuff like that, how you're changing camps, and that now you're looking to find new management with whoever's going to help take you to that next level. And you're sitting there telling me now you're training multiple disciplines too. You're taking those roads that like as some of your predecessors out here. We see Clarissa Shields, doing her thing in pro boxing, and signed her contract with PFL and all that. And obviously everyone knows what Amanda Serrano's been doing over the last handful of years. She's arguably the face of women's boxing. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's great that they're stepping up, but one of the things that I think is unfortunate too is just you have to know where to place your beef. Like me, I'm a shit talker. Like I'm gonna come at you, and I'm gonna come at you hard because it's boxing. It's one of the most brutal sports. I didn't join this sport because I'm sweet, but I'm also I got that New York in me. I got that attitude in me. I like to fight. So I'm aggressive, but I don't think that doing it with the managers and the promoters and with those who are in place to help in doing it publicly. Like, it's one thing to speak up when something's going on and you want to be able to share it, because how will other, all these JOs who are about to turn pro, who will they be able not even look up to, but have an example of? So I'm not against speaking up now, but I don't think going hard after them is the way.
No, I wouldn't say, it all depends on how you present it. You know what I mean? Like if you have an actual gripe and, things are not being done the way they should be done, bring it to the people. I mean, that's the way we do things nowadays. That's kind of the culture we live in. But also, you have to do it the right way, like you were saying. Like if there's a situation, not to come at somebody to kind of destroy them. Maybe to come at them to let them know, hey, this is not how it's supposed to be. This is not how it needs to be done. And one of the things you're already talking about, and that we were talking about prior to getting you on here, is the money side of things. Like there's a value to everybody, and women's athletics in general has been so undervalued for so long. You guys are consistently pushing this rock up a hill, and you're sitting in these rooms and people are saying, hey, this is what you're worth. And at the end of the day, like, I'm worth this when my counterparts are getting this. So at the same time, you're being in a sense, having someone spit in your face and they're saying this is what you're worth, when you're paying somebody to do the same thing on my counterpart 3 times, 5 times, 10 times as much.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you have to be realistic also as a fighter, because the managers and the promoters are also putting in work and they have to make their money. But that's why it's so important to make sure that when you're signed under someone, that they're not just looking at what can be done with you, but they actually care about you as a fighter, and they understand that male boxing and female boxing is different. But women's boxing is coming along. Like, the culture is changing. You can't expect women to fight for $1,000 for world titles, or underpay them and tell them that you think that's their value and expect them to fight on your card. So we have to know we can't ask for double digits if we're not there yet. We can't ask for 6 figures if we're not there yet, because are you marketable? Are people purchasing the pay-per-views or the streams? You know, once crowds open up and you can go to the fights, will people buy your tickets? So you have to look at all those things, because I don't believe in equal pay. I believe in fair pay, because I know what I bring to the table. And I don't think a lot of these tomato cans should be making the kind of money I make. So why would I say equal pay? But you got to find that balance in where realistically, for what you bring to the table, can you fight? Are you exciting? Are you marketable? Then you can speak money. Because some of these girls, I remember I had one girl ask for $20,000 to fight me. So essentially she's saying, I want to get paid to lose. Like, I'm not in this for the money. I want to snatch belts. If you have a belt and you say you the best, I'm just coming after you. Undisputed, unified, that's all good and well, but I'm old school. I want to go in there and I want to bang it out, and I want to show who the alpha is.
Yeah, well, you're saying you want to go snatch belts and everything like that. We got a question here from one of the people in the chat. They want to know what do you think of Katie Taylor, and who's your favorite fighter?
So I think Katie Taylor is a good fighter. She's done a lot in boxing. I kind of think that she's not really improving as a pro. She's kind of just where she's at, where she's putting on a performance that's good enough. I see her having a hard time as she goes up in weight and she faces some tougher opponents. But kudos to her, because she jumped into the pros. She fought all the top girls. She earned her belts, and she doesn't back down from anyone. And, you know, she's about to face Natasha Jonas, which I think is going to be an exciting fight. So I don't know why everyone's after her, though. Everyone thinks they're going to get paid. Me personally, I don't really care for the fight because it's such a high weight. I'm going to look at where I'm comfortable and where I can dominate. And featherweight has always been my weight class. My favorite boxer for the males, I would have to say like Pernell Whitaker, Dita Trinidad. For females, you know, you had like Lucia Riker, Ann Wolf.
Oh, you went old school. You went old
Yeah, you
school.
know, now all the women fighting, the belts need to be filled, and there's a lot that has to be organized better. So I think to say we have a greatest of all time in women's boxing right now, we're not really there yet.
So I guess you know, as Amanda Serrano has claimed Clarissa Shields as the GOAT, I guess you're going to renege on that and say we still have a few some time to build this up before we can crown anyone the GOAT, right?
Yeah, you know, it's gonna take time, and I know they've been pro for a little bit, but to be the greatest of all time, that's speaking volumes. You got to look at your career in a whole, and you have to look at who you fought, because I mean, you have Amanda Serrano, who's like the 7-time vacant world champion, you know, and now people do their research. Nobody is excited that you're a unified vacant champion. Like, a lot of people could do that. That's why you're not as big as you should be. Look, she fought a girl who's much smaller, and it took her till the 9th round to get her out. Imagine what's going to happen if she tried to fight at 130. Like, she better stay trying to fight with us small big girls, because she ain't going to do too well. If she fought me the way she fought this chick, man, I wouldn't even need more ring time because I've been gone. I could fight her now and still beat her. So I think it's interesting to see that she's trying to step it up now. And I hope that some of these girls do fight her, because I think she's a good fighter, but I don't think she's great.
That's all right. Like, listen, you know, there's all right to have difference in opinion. Hey, that's what we call that's what the name of the show, right? Agree to disagree.
Yeah.
No one's ever gonna see everything the way we see, and especially when it comes to looking at the fight game. We all have our own binoculars, so to speak, when it comes to it.
Yeah, you know, because I'm fighting 122. 126 is only one weight class up. Like, it's not difficult for me. So hopefully we can work things out, and once I'm getting back active and I'm fighting, get towards a world championship title fight, because it just seems like I'm getting turned down left and right. Nobody wants to fight.
Yeah, but that isn't that. But that's what they do when you start putting those big wins together and you get those knockouts and those signature wins. All those fight offers that were overflowing dry up because no one wants to fight you now. No one wants to be the next highlight. And you already know what that means, and you're already kind of hitting it. You're probably going to have to go up. You're going to have to take some chances and stuff like that. And that's just, unfortunately, the name of the game when it comes to women's boxing. And it's also one of the reasons why I kind of feel like you dip your hat into these other sports too, because you're not just the pay and the respect, the fact that it's being able to be active. And that's probably one of the biggest obstacles that the women boxers have to go through is staying active and staying relevant against valuable, worthy opponents.
Yeah, most definitely. And, that's also up to us to start, promoting ourselves and finding the right teams to be able to do that, because we now have the means to be able to. So I'm hoping that now, like, for instance, Jessica McCaskill, I think she's a great example of not finding excuses and just working hard until your opportunity comes, but also understanding like you have to also market yourself until you get to a certain point. So I'm hoping to see these matches that are coming up and the winners, because now we have like legit fights coming up where it's going to be competitive fights. Unfortunately, the pay-per-view, the undercard, it was one-sided fights. It wasn't very exciting. So now we're seeing world-class athletes and world champions going against each other, and people are now seeing like, oh, wow, women can scrap.
Yeah, I've been saying it for a long time. It's a drum I've been beating on since before the big Ronda Rousey Miesha Tate fight. I've been I was always I remember when Lita Ali was fighting in women's boxing and nobody was paying attention to it. Nobody. And it's one of the reasons why she got why some of the women who were fighting during that time got out of it. There was no money and no one was really paying attention. You're mentioning names. I'm sitting there saying you're going old school. I guarantee you no one knew who Lucia Riker was. I guarantee you there's nobody. See, he doesn't know what it is. And here's the thing. I guarantee you've seen her. I guarantee it. Are you seen the movie $1 Million Baby, right?
I haven't, to be honest. I'm embarrassed that I've said that.
Oh man!
I know it's such a good flick. Everybody told me it's so good. I've never seen it though.
For the people who don't know, she's Billy Bluebear. She's the villain in the movie, so to speak. So but she's a legend, man. And also, people tend to forget Lucia actually was kind of cool. When Ronda was first kind of doing her striking thing, they would kind of have conversations and stuff like that. Little overblown, never really they never got to work or anything. But Lucia Riker is somebody who was always involved in women combat sports, and she's an OG. And then Ann Wolf's another one, man. And speaking of that, one of our listeners here wanted to know, what style, and who do you like to model your style after?
Well, I like to watch different types of fighters. For instance, I'll watch Mike Tyson and I'll watch Sugar Ray. And they have such different styles. But for me, I'm so versatile. I could fight on the inside, the outside. I could bang and brawl. I can also box. So I can also show footwork. I can also plant, sit, and really dig down and throw some bombs. So I like to look at different boxers with different styles and see how I can adapt it to make it my own.
So you almost like take the mimic thing, like see things that you like in styles and kind of add them to your tool belt to kind of use that as within your own style, right?
Oh yeah, you can never have too many tools in your arsenal. So I usually watch boxing to study and look at how they're fighting. So I'm always taking notes and just going back to the gym and trying it out and see how it works for me. And
so what are some of your fighters' favorite styles? Like some people who you kind of like the model after?
I like Mike Tyson, the way he would cut those angles and come at you with that hook. And that's something that I've been able to do recently in my fights. We've been practicing is working more on those angles.
Yeah, he's listen. Way Mike was able to kind of turn over and turn things, and like when he would make cuts and be able to get. That's what would get people like when he would turn and counter and move, and he'd pop you before you can even freaking move an inch.
Yeah.
You can even like get a muscle twitch in there, and he was already done. Next thing you know, he's hit you with 2 or 3, and is on the other side of the ring, setting up his next combination. But now we'd already said you're doing some other things too, right? I always ask you guys, what are you working on and stuff like that. Now I know you don't have to lay too much into us, but you say you're doing the stuff with boxing, but are you also, now that you're working on the other disciplines? I've been asking asking a lot of the athletes, since everyone's kind of like looking for wherever the next opportunity is, regardless if it's an MMA, whatever. We've seen over the past year, Paige Van Zandt leave MMA, go to bare knuckle boxing. So we're seeing everyone kind of take opportunities where they go. I've already mentioned both what Amanda and Clarissa are doing. Now, if I remember correctly, you also come from a martial arts background. Are you going to be looking into kind of furthering that as you kind of develop your boxing as well?
Yeah, because I'm the opposite than some of these boxers who are jumping on the bandwagon for a paycheck. I started MMA back in 2015, and I actually wound up falling in love with the sport, being able to do so many disciplines, because I've been boxing on and off for about 20 years. There's only so much you can learn in boxing. It's just about fine tuning and becoming an expert in it. In MMA, you have kickboxing, you have boxing, wrestling, judo, you Brazilian jiu-jitsu, no gi. There's all types of different other styles that you can incorporate, like capoeira, if you're into that, into your fighting. So it makes it fun for me, because like I'm vicious, and now you're gonna lock me in the octagon, and it's limited rules where I could put my hands on you and you can't escape me. Like, yeah. Like, I actually didn't plan on coming back to boxing. I went back to MMA first, and I found the MMA gym and I started training there. But then I was like, you know what? I was watching some of these fights and I was like, I could fuck all these girls up. Like, I got some unfinished business. Like, let me come back and smash. So that's what I did. I made a few phone calls and we were able to put it together to get me back. And now I'm 4-0. But I've been doing MMA on and off since 2015. I have a few MMA amateur fights. And, I'm looking to make my MMA pro debut this year, but boxing is my focus. But yeah, it's not about the money. I like to fight, and I enjoy
That's
learning.
awesome. So now you're saying you're going to make your pro debut. Do you have any goals as far as a promotion? You just want to do something local, something small, or are you going to try to reach out to some of these larger promotions? Like, would you like, ideal landing spot would probably be Invicta, correct?
Well, I mean, there's a few good promotions like Invicta, LFA. So there's a few out there. So MMA is different than my boxing. Like in my boxing, there's not a lot of girls who can go with me. So anybody could call me out and it's like, let's go. MMA is slightly different. I still have some learning to do. I still need octagon time and rounds in. So I would like to start with a smaller promotion, but I wouldn't mind being moved a little faster.
So I would probably say, like, all right, if I'm off the top of my head, it would probably be more like you would probably want to look at King of the Cage, kind of one of these promotions that does the pro am type thing they did, and so where you can kind of, you have the talent that is both coming up from some of the fighters that aren't as super experienced, but aren't exactly the super green guys.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, my second fight, I went against She's actually in the UFC now, Mallory Martin. And at
Yep.
the time, she was one of the top girls in the state of Colorado in amateur MMA. And I fought her as my second fight with only like 2.5 months of any training outside of boxing. It's about getting in there and just, showing your skills. These other girls want to jump to big promotions for the money. I want to actually develop. So when I get to the bigger ones, I'm also smashing there. Because who's been able to be a champion in both boxing and MMA at the same time?
Hasn't been done yet.
Not yet.
So you trying to smash some more walls? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Yeah. I want to do it all. I call myself the triathlete of combat sports because the MMA, the boxing, and the jits. I love it.
Hey, listen, I'm one of these guys, man. I love all aspects of combat sports. From pure Muay Thai to kickboxing, sport jujitsu, the whole nine. Like you said, there's so much fun, integral aspects of MMA because you're always finding something new to learn. We're even have guys hop in here with asking if kung fu still exists and stuff like that. So I mean, it's fun. So we're it's one of these things where it's fun watching both the fighter grow with learning disciplines and like an athlete like you who was doing both boxing and also growing the other aspects.
Mm-hmm. That's too funny. My MMA name is actually Kung Fu Parker.
There you go.
Yeah.
Steven with the professional segue.
What happened?
I said Steven with the professional segue. Like that wasn't intentional, bringing up Kung Fu, knowing what your handle was.
I had no clue. I promise you, because I was when I was googling and doing the research for her, I was doing everything through boxing, not through MMA. I seen the MMA, but didn't look up her tapology stuff or anything like that. I was going through BoxRec, so.
Yeah, my walkout song was "Everybody Loves Kung Fu Fighting."
Yeah.
Like you gotta have fun, like for some reason I just feel really relaxed doing MMA. So that's the one thing where I feel like I'm more serious, my character in boxing, but for MMA I'm more playful and relaxed.
There's always should be fun like that with MMA. Isn't it weird? Like, is it like with boxing and MMA? It's almost like two different type of things all together. Like when we're talking, like you would figure like the fight fans and in the way that it's run is the same, but it's like MMA is a little bit more carefree, where boxing is more like structured and rigid for whatever reason.
Yeah, and other politics, have kind of affected it, but I think there's a connection missing because one of the good things with the UFC and some of the top promotions are doing is they're making sure you're connected to the fighters. With boxing, you're just getting random opponents put together and nobody knows who they are or there's no storyline. You don't have the mandatories. You don't have people fighting who are waiting, I'm going to get the winner of the next fight. That's how you get buildups. We don't have 24/7 boxing after dark. Those were the things that connected you to your audience. So in my opinion, I think that's why there's a little bit of a disconnect.
Yeah, there is. I mean, it's one of these things. Like I don't think you'll ever kind of get a whole mess of the two to kind of cross over. MMA fans will always be hardcore MMA fans, and pure hardcore boxing fans will always be pure hardcore boxing fans.
Yeah, that's true. And they're so different just in how everything is done. So it is true about being in the different sports.
Absolutely. One more from our listeners, and then we'll wrap it up because we already have our next guest sitting in the back here. But they always want to know, what do you have coming up, and if you do have any fights coming up, where could they possibly see it at? Do you have anything in the works? I know you did have the boxing fight. You are training, but is there anything concrete, or is mum the word?
Well, I do have some things in the works, so I will be making some announcements soon.
Okay. So obviously, Dave, you're gonna have to tune into Melissa's social media pages to find out what's going on next with her. Melissa, what I typically do here at the end is kind of throw the microphone over to you. Anyone you'd like to thank, anyone you would give any shout outs to, any sponsors you might have, charities you're working with, anything like that. The time is yours.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who continues to support me. You know, I'm back on track and I'm getting ready. I'm training and I'm going to be ready for these fights. So stay tuned because I'll be back on the scene real soon.
All right. Well, Melissa, it was definitely a pleasure. Let us know when you get the next thing lined up. We'll have you on here again. You know, any one of our programs between our program, Combat Sports Stop, you know, Spit and Fire. We're got a whole bunch of more stuff lined up for everybody. Appreciate the time, and we will definitely have you back on here again and kick it, talk some more combat sports.
Most definitely. Thanks for having me.
All right, and now we got a little bit of a change of plan here. Guys, Kenzie Morrison will not be joining us, but I was setting it up through his manager, and he's actually at a fight right now with one of his fighters who's 12-0 and is going to be fighting within minutes, hours. I don't know. He's sitting in his locker room in the back. He's about ready to join us. So, hey, what's going on?
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Steven, for a minute I was worried. I thought this was going to be another NFL interview.
Listen, first and foremost, appreciate the time. You know, big shout out to your manager Reed for throwing you on here. And you know, obviously you got a big fight lined up here. I guess since this is on a whim type of thing, I guess real quick let our listeners know who you are, who you're fighting, and where could we watch it tonight? Is it a pay-per-view? Is it on TV? What's going on?
So my name is Calvin with the Kalvin, Hot Sauce Henderson. 12-0 with 8 knockouts. And I had over 70 amateur fights. I'm fought for Team USA. I'm ranked as high number 4 in the country. I'm 25 in the world as an amateur. And now I'm ranked in the top 15 of the country as a professional in the super middleweight division. I'm fighting the main event tonight here in Nebraska, Grand Island, Nebraska. I'm not from Nebraska. I'm nowhere near Nebraska. I'm from Texas, born and raised. I live in Arkansas currently. We have opportunity to kind of knock some dust off, some rust off. I didn't fight at all in 2020, and preparing and ramping up for a big fight in 2 weeks on NBC, April 8th in New York. So this is kind of go out, have fun, knock some rust off, take care of business by all means, and then rear up and gear up for the next fight coming up.
So I guess the hold up must have been, you know, between COVID and everything else, kind of holding up everything, or was
correct?
It
was the shows, everything. I mean, everything was shut down, and you have a card that would come up, and then COVID would knock it out of the way, or this would be happening, and then it get canceled because it is. So it was just kind of up and down, off and on.
Hey man, it's been a rough for a lot of the combat sport athletes. I've been sitting there saying a lot, like, you know, I joke about it a little bit, but I mean, you know, the female fighters at least have the opportunity to open up OnlyFans pages to supplement some type of income.
I can do the same thing too.
I'm about to tell you right now. Like we had a guy on here, you know, he's a local fighter to our area. Him and his girlfriend did do one because he's had knee surgery and everything else since he's been there. So they did start an OnlyFans with him and his girlfriend.
I tell you what, man, that's definitely a trying time, you know, because a lot of people say they're a professional fighter or a professional boxer, but I call them part-time boxers. You know, they only fight when they have a fight coming up, or they only train when they have a fight coming up. I train all year long. So we didn't have any fights 2020, and I stayed in the gym every day. And so this is a testament to it. Like you can't be a part-time lawyer, you can't be a part-time doctor. Why be a part-time professional fighter? So I do this all the time, full time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I gave you guys all, you know, all the combat sport athletes, all the respect in the world. I mean, y'all go through literal hell to get to the fights. People don't understand the nonsense you have to go through, you know, like depending on who you're fighting for, what promoter you, if you have to sell tickets, then you got family issues, then you got training issues. It's just what you guys have, like when people see like the UFC embedded series, that's just only like a little window into what a lot of these athletes go through. They really just don't know what you guys have.
It's kind of hard to relate that too, man. You know, it's kind of hard. You don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless you're involved in it, like you really like it you could just you're just speaking a foreign language with somebody. They just don't. They're just never going to get it.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Now, obviously, yeah, like you said, you got the big one coming up on NBC. Now, obviously, boxing's kind of the thing right now. I was just talking to Melissa. She's Oddessa. She's another one of these women who going from combat sport to combat sport, doing boxing, working on MMA right now too. Is that something that also crosses your minds where you see what's going on with bare knuckle boxing's out there? They're doing a lot of successful things. UFC is actually about to have their own boxing wing inside of it. You're going to see UFC boxing come out soon. I mean, are those some opportunities you might want to look into too moving forward?
As long as it's boxing, I'm a pure boxer. I've been doing this since I was 15 years old. Boxing's kind of my thing. Not saying I don't mess around and
I'm
understanding jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. But definitely, man. I didn't know about the UFC boxing tip. That's kind of
that's something Dana's been working on for a few years. I think COVID kind of pushed it back. It was going to launch, I think, this year. But
what's cool about the UFC is that I know the UFC takes really good care of their fighters, man, and they take really good care. Like they have things set up for them.
Yeah, like in some aspects, but you also got to remember, like where you have things like where the top 5% get taken care of really well, but also you have to remember, like where you're a boxer, you're able to go get sponsors. You can do whatever you want with that. Where the UFC fighters, you're not really allowed that, and you have what you're supposed to wear in the cage, everything like that. Your cornermen all have to wear the same thing when it all comes to that.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to it, but then I know fighters who are in the UFC and they
but you can have them out.
They have a whole.
It's outside the cage. That's what you do outside of it.
No, what I'm saying is that they even have the UFC facility in New York. I mean, not in New York, in Las Vegas. Like it's free to any UFC fighter. They got top of the line trainers.
Yeah, you can go move in there for training camp.
Correct. That right there is the game changer. I mean, like you can actually have a successful camp, have no excuses on why you're not ready for a fight. Zero excuse. You get down there, you train, dedicate yourself, and you got everything you need at your fingertips. That right there, I think, might slightly outweigh having to go get your own sponsors and stuff, man. You don't have to pay for food, you don't have to pay for anything, no kind of training facilities or anything.
And then yet you still have people having fighters miss weight and fights get called off.
Man, you ain't lying.
That's part of life, man. You got to take personal responsibility, and sometimes people just don't want to do it. You do anything to push the blame off.
You're preaching now.
Hey man, it's what it is. I mean, you go look at what happened. What was it? The Jan Aljamain Sterling fight. Peter Yan still has not admitted to the fact that he did an illegal foul, caused the stop of the fight, but he wants to. He's the victim. He's the victim. I'm like, you know the rules, and you still did it. All right, I don't like they literally.
That's how it goes, man.
Yeah,
that's how it goes. That's life, though.
Exactly. Life always throwing you curveballs and stuff like that, but now I gotta ask you, man. All right, we're Philly guys over here. You got that southern accent. You down there in Texas? Who's your squad down there, man? I gotta know.
What do you mean squad? As in like football? I mean, you already know it's the Dallas Cowboys. Only one person. Actually, I fought in Philly 2018 and 2019, man, and I brought the Dallas Cowboys swag with me. You know what I mean? We had to take care of business. I fought at the 2300 Arena in South Philly.
Yeah, that's the place, man. That's the place. That's where legends are made and born.
Yes, sir. I had 3 total fights there in the last 2 years.
Now, what do you think? Like, obviously, you brought the swag out of here. Like, I always ask people who are not from this area, when you come in here, right? Is it a totally different energy when you fight in Philadelphia than when you fight in other areas?
I'm gonna tell you this right now. My first time fighting professionally in Philly. It was very hostile. It's because I went to somebody else's promotional company and fought him on his own card as the main event as an opponent. So it was very hostile, but we had no troubles with it. Ended up knocking that guy out, and now we got Philly fans on our back now. Philly love me, man. It's my third home.
Exactly. I mean, we got some love for you. Once you get rid of that star, we can talk a little bit more. We can give you a little bit more love.
You're a Cowboys fan. There's not much love left.
Hey, I was born into it, man. I'm sorry, man. I was born that way.
Hey, listen, you can't help that. It's like family, man. It's like man. I got this cousin. He always doing some nonsense, man. But he's still family.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's how it is.
Hey man, you know it's true, Zach. But since we're on it, what do you think of your boys this year? I mean, here in Philadelphia, we're ripping apart our team like there's no tomorrow. But
I don't understand how you guys win a world title and then change up the whole roster. That doesn't make sense to me. You Philly, man. That doesn't make any sense at all. But
we're
it ain't
still
for
trying
me
to make sense of
me,
it
right?
too, my friend. We're still trying to make sense of it too.
I don't understand that, man. I don't understand it at all. Man, Dallas Cowboys, we know we lost Dak Prescott last year, and so we're still trying to figure that situation out. And
Yeah,
he's
but
demanding more money.
but you actually got him back, and
Is he though? Is he though?
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Because when you
though?
break your leg, you ain't the same player.
Yeah,
and
you ain't the same person, man.
We know that firsthand. Donovan McNabb was
Yeah.
never the same player again
That's
after he broke his leg.
Is he? Yeah. So we don't even know. We got to wait till he see him play 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, but guess what? Your thing, as long as he can still be, I guess being able to scramble around and make plays happen in the pocket without taking too much damage and stuff like that, it'll be fine. I'll say this much, y'all. I think y'all got a good team. You still ain't winning the division this year. I hope you know.
Come on, man. That sound like hate. Don't even sound like
facts.
That sound
hate,
like hate
man.
right there, man.
Man, Washington going to do it to you again. Tell me
how
wrong. That defense is out of control, man.
They do it to y'all. We all gonna be sitting there getting it.
Hey man, I'm a realist. Like I may put my team down, but I'm looking at the way the division looks, and I still don't see you guys winning. You still have to. I don't think you've gotten better than Washington.
Man, we're gonna say, like I said, it all depends on how Dak responds to his injury. I mean, because what made him really good is that he had to do a threat. Like if things get shaky, he can scramble around and make plays with his feet. But if he ain't confident with his feet, he's one-dimensional now. So I don't know. We gotta wait and see.
Is your boy Zeke gonna show up this year or what?
Man, he gonna show up because Dak's back, man. That's like his brother, man. You know what I mean? They feed off each other energy. Come on, let's eat.
You had to hit us with the spoon, man.
Let's eat.
And speaking of eating, you gonna eat in a few minutes, right? So
you ain't lying.
Now with this fight, like when are you fighting? Are you fighting like an hour? Like what is that?
I'm fighting. I'm actually about to start getting dressed. I'm ready here in about 30 minutes.
So look at that.
Main event.
Look at that. We get the premiere interview
exclusive right here. Yeah.
Backstage exclusive. Yes, you only get that here live here on A2D Radio.
Yes, sir. I'm about to see a murder.
Now, what are you thinking of this one? Like no disrespect to your opponent or anything like that, but obviously you say you're here to knock the rust off. Are you going to work on some things that you've been trying to do that you haven't been able to kind of work on the last year because you haven't been able to compete, or is it just kind of what you normally do and just knock everything off?
Because what it is what I normally do is go in there and just get back to doing what we've been doing before we took this last year off, and just what I call almost like a scrimmage. Almost it's a real professional fight, and no disrespect to the opponent, but fighting, the whole atmosphere of this fight is something that we got to get accustomed to. The whole weigh-in, the whole draining yourself of weight, and the whole waiting doing the face-offs, and then the nervousness of being backstage and wrapping your hands. Like that's something that you want to make sure you don't ever get out of normalcy with. So I want to make sure and take this as one of those steps to just do it again and get a good rep on it and be ready to go for TV fight in 2 weeks.
Hey man, and that one now how would people be able to watch that? Is that like you said it's going to be on NBC? When is it? And who are you going to be fighting?
It's April 8th. I'm fighting a guy from Ohio named Isaiah Steen. It's going to be on the Ring City Boxing. Ring City USA is doing a series of fights on NBC, and so this is one of the cards they're doing in New York.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, sir.
Was it where in New York you're going to be at?
I want to say I think we'll be at the college, the military college, West Point.
Okay.
Yes, sir. They doing a special show there.
Little small thing, but you still get it. Or are you gonna have live crowd there officially, or is that
not in New York? This is the first show New York has since.
Well, that's why we were talking, because UFC got it situated. I think tonight we're gonna have the first actual. We're gonna be able to see the crowd for once.
Okay, yeah, no, not in New York, man. They still pretty on lockdown. Like they restrict those things, and
I know
the whole quarantine.
New York is doing everything backwards. I know, man.
Yeah, that's ground zero. They're trying to make sure they keep it, trying to keep it on lock.
Now I got to ask you, like, is that still another thing that's still frustrating, like with everything, still have like getting everything situated while trying to go through everything with the COVID protocols and everything like that?
That's the craziest that quarantining thing, man. That's imagine. So we got to be in New York for about 6 days. We got to get there ahead of time. As soon as you land there, you got to do a COVID test right then. They immediately quarantine. You can't leave the hotel for anything. Like you just stuck in the hotel room for 4 or 5 days until it's time for weigh-in, and then back in the room, and then now time for the fight.
Is that probably one of the biggest things you're looking forward to going back to normalcy? Is that aspect of it, not having to go through all the jump through the extra hoops?
Correct. When you have a fight coming up, man, you already spent X amount of weeks thinking about your opponent and focusing and all this stuff. You don't need those last couple seconds to be to yourself in a room trapped, and then you start overthinking things and started going through situations in your head you need to go through. Myself personally, I like to get out, clear my head, get my mind on something else. Cause I done thought about this guy for so long. I don't need that last little bit to do it. So that's gonna be the challenge, trying to make sure that we just stay focused and not overthink things and just go do our job.
Yeah, the mental aspect is always forgotten about. I mean, we always talk about like the physical thing if they have the tools, the fight IQ and stuff like that. People tend to forget like the littlest thing could happen. Fight night could throw everything off and nothing works right.
Let's make it professional. They go out to do their job no matter what. I just want to break something down. Just imagine just thinking you're in the locker room like I am right now, and you're getting ready to go out there and fight a guy that has also prepared to fight you, just you, not at a tournament where you got anybody. It's just one guy who's trying just as hard as you did to fight you. Imagine how mental that is, man. You better go out and fight this guy.
And then you got to do it in front of
people, judging you and spitting at you and cheering for you or whatever. You know what I mean? And you can do it all over again the next fight.
And you guys get to pay that to do that for that rush, man, and we get
Correct.
to enjoy it.
Correct, yes, sir.
Now, I don't want to keep you too much longer because I want to let you get kind of get a chance to reset yourself and tune in and stuff like that. But
yes, sir.
First, I want to say appreciate the time. Big shout out to Reed for setting it up. Hopefully we'll get you back on here on a more official lineup, not an exclusive backstage preview to your fight, and get some things going on. Like I said, appreciate your time. Best of skill for the fight. In the next 20 minutes to an hour, and also best skill in the one coming up in the coming weeks.
Appreciate you guys.
What I typically do at the end, I do what everyone is, throw the proverbial microphone over to you. Anyone you want to thank, teammates, training partners, shoot out your social media sites, any sponsors you might have, charities you're working with, anyone else, anything else you would like to let the people know. The time is yours, my friend.
Perfect. You guys follow me on Instagram at KALVIN Henderson. First, I want to thank God for this opportunity to talk to you guys and have fun and relate to you guys. I want to thank my team. I want to thank the gym I train at and work at, Straight Break Boxing and Fitness. I want to thank my wife, my kids. Thank y'all for everything, man. Stay tuned.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. Hot Sauce Henderson is going to light it up tonight, and make sure you guys are keeping an eye on what he's doing. Again, best of skill, my friend. Appreciate the time. Do your thing, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks, guys. All right, make good choices.
We'll do our best. You make bad ones with Dallas when we'll make our bad ones too.
Oh man.
Love you, brother.
Guys.
Best
Thanks,
of skill,
man. All love. Yes, sir.
All right, guys. All right. Another first for here on A2D Radio and the Weekly Roundup. Unfortunately, Kenzie couldn't join us, and fortunately enough, you have awesome managers at the time. He already had his client there, so might as well just bring his boy on, talk some boxing. We were able to have a backstage exclusive interview right there. That doesn't get much better than that. Yeah, exactly. Great kid. Definitely loved the energy from him. The only thing I didn't love about him was that he's a Dallas fan. Other than that, I hope he peels this dude's skull back.
Over here making fun of Cowboys fans, let's be honest. Like
we're making fun of ourselves too. What do you mean?
Much better than Jerry Jones. So
yeah, man. But Listen, again, Melissa was fun. Both of those boxes, and listen, we still wound up with 2 undefeated boxes, even after everything was said and done. Can't get much better than that, right, Mr. Barr? We can't get much better than that.
So I mean, it's you always, it's
Now
we got
obviously
saved at the end. It was spontaneous getting saved at the end there with the extra interview.
Well, no, I mean we would have did fine either way. You know how it is. Everyone was still talking about the Eagles and everything we were going on to here. Obviously, people are listening to us because they obviously already know what we think, right? Obviously.
People are.
You don't see the comment, do you? Oh, you're not on screen. There you go. That's why you don't.
Yeah, hold on.
You got to bring you back.
Yeah, I mean, Steve's over here just trolling because, I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, he listened to the show when we've talked about that how many times.
Yeah,
and it's so funny.
I know.
Before Jalen Hurts ever took a snap.
That's what we said. That's what we said.
I said he looks like he's Tyrod Taylor. And
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I don't see anything
what
else
is
right
up,
now that
AK Eagles 88? All right. We will let you guys. We'll bring up the poll question one more time, just for all the listeners who are still listening, who's been here since the kickoff, and some of them who are just tuning in here. And it will be, Howie Roseman will not hit on any of his top draft selections over the next 2 seasons. Agree to disagree. Anyone who's left in the chat, please tune in, chime in with your thoughts. Real quick, because obviously we're going to be up against it within the next 10 to 15 minutes. But the Sixers, we're going to talk some Sixers basketball real quick. They're going against the Clippers tonight. Obviously are already dispatching of LeBron James earlier in the week. What are you liking about the Sixers tonight? You thinking that they're coming out with a W? Are you liking what you're seeing from the bench so far? And, what are you looking forward to seeing, first game back since the trade deadline?
I think you've got a team right now that seems like, they've figured out everything that they are, right? Like, they have so much confidence. Like, it's different than anything we've seen with them over the past few years. Like they I guess thought they were good. They knew talent-wise, we're a really good basketball team, but they had no idea how to win or what a culture was, as far as a culture that breeds winning and things like that. And I think they're figuring all that out right now. Doc Rivers is kind of feeding that confidence,
Well, not just that.
Pressures.
Would you think Brett Brown would have called out Dwight Howard the way Doc did?
No. Brett Brown would have given us some stupid, answer when it came to, like the question about whether or not we should Daryl Morey should trade for somebody. Doc Rivers is very to the point. We won 9 of 10. We don't need to be messing with our roster. Like Doc Rivers, he gets it. He gets everything about it all, right? Like
I didn't want to ask you your question on this. Did you find it weirdly ironic his son was yet again attached to a trade to his team that he didn't wind up on?
I mean, I don't know.
I just think it's widely ironic that it consistently happens.
I mean, I remember back in the offseason when everybody thought Austin Rivers was going to end up with the Sixers, and Doc Rivers specifically came out and said publicly that he had told Daryl Morey to not sign or not trade for Austin Rivers. It was not, something that he wanted. I mean, I think it's maybe more of a coincidence than anything else that he ended up, as in the 3-team trade. But it's not like he was.
Oh my God, Dave! Oh my God, bro! You're too much. That is comment of the day. Thank you very much. Oh man. And to the point where you've left Zachary
speechless. The White House?
And you left Zach
Jeffrey
speechless.
Lurie in the basement of the White House. That's where they're gonna tie him up. And Biden doesn't like grown men.
Oh my God, stop, brother. I shouldn't even put it up there. All right. Yeah, exactly. That's why we were saying I don't think any one of us actually has faith in him to actually execute this and pull it off. And that's kind of the reason why I asked this question. I want to kind of see what the fans thought.
We don't even know if he's going to be picking next year. Like, what if he sucks so bad this year? Like, you think it's a guarantee that he's like the guy again next year?
So AK also AK Eagles 88 also believes that he's going to fall flat on his face and not perform well with these draft picks. It's kind of consensus opinion. Like I said, if the Philadelphia Eagles are taking a gauge on what the fan base feels about this team, they have no faith in you to perform anything, to do anything. We were literally just talking to a pro boxer, was laughing at the fact that we just win a Super Bowl and in 2 seasons completely tear apart the team that did it.
Yeah, I mean,
so if the fans have not realized we've become a Super Bowl champion to the laughing stock of the league, all because of Howie Roseman. I don't know what else you can say about it. Listen, we handle it like most Philadelphia fans do. We do it with a smile and some passion, and we're gonna ride this team. Whether they're 5-10 or 11-5, we're gonna love them the same way. We're gonna hate them the same way. And even when they're 11-5, we're gonna still find ways to pick apart of them, right?
There's just a lot of people that are awfully silent right now. People that I know personally on the Jalen Hurts train. As soon as the report leaked out that the Eagles were going to trade up to 3 to take Zach Wilson, all of a sudden, all these people that think that fucking Jalen Hurts is going to be the next Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray. They're all
well, me and you never thought that.
Me and
you never thought that. Like we knew what he was.
But how many people did we argue with that tried to tell us that this is all?
We're still arguing. What are you talking about?
We've been hearing it since Jalen Hurts was drafted. All the people that had this giant conspiracy that the Eagles they had drafted Jalen Hurts because they didn't believe in Carson Wentz and they thought Jalen was going to be the new Russell Wilson and he could be the future. And we all said the same thing. Howie's just made a giant clusterfuck of this whole situation. They drafted the kid as insurance because they thought it was a smart football move. But Howie's such a nerd, he doesn't realize that he fucked up the situation more than he helped any of it. And it's all kind of snowballed into what we currently see now. It was never that they thought Jalen Hurts was ever going to be any good. And that's so obvious that the plan was never for Jalen to be the future.
Well, I mean, that's clearly obvious with what came out.
What to do.
That's clearly obvious.
Another quarterback.
It's clearly obvious with what came out with the reports this week that the fact that they were trying to trade up to go get Zach Wilson.
They never thought he was a franchise quarterback. Never.
So everyone. So with that, and people are still trying to say that was fake news too. But anyways, I want to sit there and continue to beat this drum. But that also shows you the line of thing. They're not in on this guy. And this season is still a rental at best.
Let's be honest, that makes the Carson Wentz trade even fucking weirder. It's almost like we know Jalen's not the guy. And it's not that Carson's not the guy at this point, but we just, it's almost like they just said we're done with the whole situation, right? It's almost like Howie said, you know what? I turned this situation into such a clusterfuck. Oops, we fucked this up. Now the only way to fix it is we've just got to blow the entire thing up. So we know Jalen isn't our guy, but we're not even going to fuck around with the idea of fixing Carson. Let's just cut our ties, get the assets that we can, and we already know what Jalen is, so we'll just we'll ride that out for a year and we'll go from there. But it's almost like what makes me so frustrated about it is we've been trying to tell people this for a year, and we've gotten nothing but pushback on it, and it's literally spun full circle to this. And it's
listen, I really don't care what anyone has to say. Jalen Hurts was not going is clearly not the franchise quarterback, and it sucks because he deserves to have a fair shake, and Carson didn't even get a fair shake here. So,
I mean, at no point, how is a quarterback here for 5 years and you don't get him a legitimate offensive playmaker? Not one. Forget about a wide receiver. They didn't bring Carson was the legitimate offensive playmaker. Zach Ertz isn't a playmaker. Zach Ertz is a safety blanket, right? That's a playmaker is a guy that breaks tackles and runs after the catch and things like that. Zach Ertz is a nice.
Zach Ertz is basically like your second tier safety, like security blanket. He's not the best one. He's not the first choice, but he's definitely one of the top.
He was the first choice, but he should never have had to been the first. The fact that he's your first choice told you everything that you needed to know about this.
I was meaning positional wise, not team wise, but I got what you're saying.
But you should for 5 years, Zach Ertz is your number one target. Well, like as a quarterback, that's insanity. Like it's just absolute insanity that the dude was on a rookie contract for 4 years, and the best offensive playmaker you could bring him was Alshon Jeffrey. That's the best offensive player. Like that's your definition of going and getting a guy at number one. And we love Alshon. Yeah, I know Alshon. Great, had a great Super Bowl year. But like Alshon is like, we sit here and get so caught up in this Alshon trade as if he's fucking Jerry Rice or Randy Moss or something. Like
listen, the only thing listen, I'm not going to sit there and I've already said what I had to say about Alshon Jeffrey. I'm going to thank him for the 17th season, but everything after that, like it is what it is, man. He got us a Super Bowl, and just everything kind of fell apart, and everything snowballed around us, and the team got old, and players who were weren't really had injury issues or now having injury issues, and it's just part of the game sometimes.
But the minute you bring up the fact that Carson never had a legit weapon, people immediately go to they traded and they got him Alshon Jeffrey, the Super Bowl year, as if that's supposed to make me go, oh wow, like what a blockbuster move that was. Like literally, they did that. They got Torrey Smith, and they went and got LeGarrette Blount. Those still aren't top tier legitimate weapons. LeGarrette Blount wouldn't even see the field for 2 downs. Jay Ajayi, like we brought in a bunch of solid pieces, right? Like
listen,
we didn't really go get anybody that was.
As you mentioned, Jay Ajayi, my kid loves a Jay Ajayi to the point where he still has that jersey and wears it on a consistent basis.
Sure, but like if Jay Ajayi is your best playmaker, like holy shit, like what I'm saying? Like it gets to a point where you looked at the roster and at some point you're like, what is this? Like what are we doing here? We're running an offense straight out of 1978.
AK, like way I see that is like literally it's like the last little bit of freaking alcohol in the bottom of your bottle, and you want to get that last bit of it because you just
shot.
And we squeeze that last little drop out of Alshon Jeffrey. And then the Eagles decided to not only continue to try to squeeze and get more out of it, they decided to put more investment into it.
We squeezed every last drop out of the fountain of youth that we possibly could from Alshon, and then we still tried to get another couple years. Then
you add another one to it with Deshaun, and I love Deshaun, but
well, I mean the fountain. Jesus Christ, you want to talk about a fountain of youth? They were hoping Deshaun found the elixir of life to come back and actually the
elixir of life.
Yeah, I mean he's about the fountain of youth.
What do you? Real quick before we wrap it up, where do you think he's going to do out in LA? Is he going to do good? Is he going to play more than 6 games? You're over under him
playing more than 6 games. I don't even know if he's good enough to be on that roster for 6 games. Like if anything, the reason he's signing in LA, he's an LA guy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Listen, I seen him that season. There was a glow about Alshon Jeffrey. It was like the freaking movie Angels in the Outfield. He had the angel, right? Yeah, you're right. He was touched by an angel. You know what I mean? That's the only way you could sit there and see it. And AK is also saying under on that. Under 6.
I'm not even trying to rip the dude. I mean, I don't this dude just stealing money at this point. He didn't play a full game last year. The dude could barely play a full quarter without popping a hammy. And all of a sudden, he's going to go to LA and play more than 6 games. He might not play them more. Steven, I might take the under 6 quarters. I might take the under on that. He might not make it out of training camp.
And then Molly's back here, and he says because the Rams don't really need him that much, he might play 7 to 10 games.
Yeah, I mean, he's not beating out Cooper Kupp, right? He's not beating out a guy like Van Jefferson that they drafted last year. They've got plenty of other weapons on that team. I already
tell you, he's going to be their punt returner, and he's going to be a situational deep threat.
Yeah,
that's what he should have been here.
Yeah, except he wasn't in a position to do that here. He had to go out and try to be a guy that had to make plays, right?
Because they signed him to a contract as such. But
let's sign him to a contract because this guy's going to be our playmaker.
We're already up against it, and I know
thanks guys. You brought me Deshaun Jackson,
and I know the boys from in this very ring are about to hop on here and talk some wrestling. Another fun one, guys. always here with Mr. Burr. Appreciate all our all I love from everyone in the chat. You guys were absolutely amazing tonight. Big shout out to Melissa Oddessa Parker, and big shout out to Reed Cook, and also for getting Kevin Hot Sauce Henderson on here. Hopefully we can get Kenzie rescheduled. I know he has a fight coming up. How fighters get sometimes are real hard to get in contact. We're gonna be back on here next week. I got PFL fighter coming on here. You'll have to wait and see what the announcement is, who it's going to be. Obviously, we've already had Dan Svan on here last week, so obviously it's not him. Let's look at the schedule and see if we can figure it out. Again, make sure you guys like, subscribe. And again, actually, I stand corrected. It's not the in this very wing crew, because Thomas said they're going to be doing the Sixers live reaction. So make sure you guys are staying tuned here, because Thomas and the boys are going to be giving you all our live reaction. Sixers versus Clippers once we get done here. So you know what? I think I need to have something to drink, Mr. Thomas. How about that?
Yeah, Steven's trying to get it to 2 hours and 5 minutes exactly.
Yeah, so they're doing actually they're probably taking over on YouTube. He says both shows are going. So all right, let's get this over here. Let's get out of here. We'll see you guys next week. I'm Steve. He's Zach. Make sure you guys are tuning into all our programming. We'll be back. Stay tuned.